Good afternoon. Today is June the 3rd, 2025. It is 12:07 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. For the record, this is Yahweh, ELohim, Yahweh, not Jehovah or Jesus. But I'm not here to beat anybody up today, at least not intentionally. If it ends up happening, then I don't know. But so, a couple of things I'd like to talk about today. One is the time before cell phones. That's probably so old now that it's in the recesses of human memory. Most people forgot what time was like before cell phones. Imagine if you go back like pre-2000. So the cell phone's really been hot 25 years and running, right? Well, now we have the lovely pleasure of not having disposable cameras that, I used to love. Back in the day, you just get a pack of 3 Kodak cameras, and go to the theme park, and you're taking pictures and you don't know what they are yet. That makes you want to, pose better. It makes you want to be better for the unknown picture, right? And digitally speaking, the more things are not hard copied into your world, the less they'll ever exist in the future. So, quite literally, 25 years and counting, you guys are essentially computerized everything, and you have no perseverance, because if you did, then you would have understood that the way the cosmic order goes, and that life on planet Earth is subjected to massive solar flares. Not to the point that it would directly kill a human being, but it would essentially, erase all your abilities for technology. And then what, But on top of that, they started integrating fucking digital and phones and all this other stuff, and now you can't even get a disposable camera used to be able to get at every drugstore, and then you just drop them off, right? If you had a prescription, you just stop by, drop it off, come back in an hour and pick it up. How great. Then you have physical pictures, they looked better, they looked good, and then you put them in a scrapbook or a photo album. It was super easy. And now you have everything digital. So for those people that are not digitally savvy, then I guess we shouldn't remember their memory. And then those people that, right, they keep all their shit electronically, then that's going to be gone. But you're also doing the generations after you disservices, because look at the walls of houses now. People don't have, like, Olin Mills used to be a full picture studio, and it was in Kmart. People could schedule appointments to go have pictures done. Now it's a massive hassle, is what I mean, and it's crazy expensive. You used to be able to go into Sears, pick up a new pair of shoes and, maybe a coat for a dinner thing you got, and hey, let's get the special next weekend, whatever it was. But I'm saying all the good things in your world, because of bad behavior and profits, it all stems from money, really, and people without purpose but with lots of money and their intent to making more money, right? Humans think they're God. Like, literally, humans think these people are me. And because you have, like, such strong buying power, that it somehow makes you special. And it doesn't, right? Because all the human activities that make a good human, you guys have shit all over that. And, you can look up to your fake gods and you can tell them thank you for ruining the human experience. You look anywhere in society, you're at the grocery store, you're at Walmart, you're at the park, you're at the bowling alley, you're at the skating rink, you're at anywhere you go, And people have this shit in their hand. And my phone cover is rough. I mean, this bad boy is rough. I don't give two poops about my phone, but I do take very good care of my stuff. Not a crack. Nothing. Nothing. So, point is, I'm not bad-mouthing technology because I myself use it. But because you also have technology, that does not mean that you shouldn't get out into society. It doesn't mean that you got to eliminate 1-hour photo and disposable cameras. It doesn't mean you have to mechanize everything. You know, there are checkpoints in a person's life where they're supposed to be, from my viewpoint, they're supposed to be interacting with energy. Energy comes from other people. With a secular society, if I left you all alone today and said, you know what, piss on the humans, I don't really give a damn, and you guys would just die off, quite literally. Like, there is no way, unless and obviously I'm here, but there is no human ability for you guys to pull your own asses out of a sling that you found yourself in. Because nobody can just open their mind without restriction, without an agenda, without a narrative, without the opinions of others, without the mainstream media pulling you one way, or your church pulling you this way, or your belief pulling you that way, or even the Bible pulling you this way. If you can get to a fundamental part of just you are an alive being, and there are things in this world that humans need. They need love, right? They need to cherish memories. So I ask, with all the digitization of the world, again, you don't see houses filled with pictures like you used to. You know, you go to the picture frame aisle at every store, even craft stores, and they're cheesy, number one. They're crappy made, and it's like, you really have to bend over backwards if you want those pictures printed. And again, you're erasing your own identity. And this is, again, not the first time that humans do this. Humans have a tendency to start out in a creation very hardworking, very obedient, very creative, and then they work well together because they're all fighting the climate. They're all fighting hunger. They're all fighting disease. You're all fighting together things that are out of your control, things that are in my control. But guess what? When I keep everyone fighting the elements and hunger and all these things, you grow more, right? It would be like the plant that maybe doesn't necessarily like to be in direct sunlight, but as God, I understand that plant definitely needs direct sunlight, and that's going to give it the growth it needs. And even though the plant doesn't like when the storms come or when the heat's hot, but I know as ELohim that plant is going to get what it needs to get, right? And it's all for the greater fruit. It's all for the greater good. It's all for the longevity of the plant. So humans are also lazy, because imagine this, go back, 20,000 years, right? And, picture me hanging out with different tribes around the world. You have other gods. You have Lord Pakal, for example. Lord Pakal's in good standing with my abode upstairs in the realms. And, Lord Pakal and I have discussed this several occasions. When human society was focused on, teamwork and building solutions, because it would be terrible, right? If you've got a 20-person tribe that you're only getting enough food for 5 or 6 people, well, the entire mindset is on getting food. And then, your creative juices are flowing. How can they hunt this animal better? How can they trap this? How can they do that, right? Your wheels are spinning. And then, once you've achieved essentially a manufacturing level obtainment of anything, humans are like, okay, well, that's all right, And then there you go, right? Fast forward now, and then you got every street corner, you got food. Everything revolves around money. You got the money, you got food, you got shelter, you got fire, you got anything you want to do. If you don't have that money, you ain't doing shit. In fact, if you don't have that money, it's against the law to be a natural human. Ain't that some shit? It's against the law to not feed the beast. It really is. Let's say right now, if Ashra didn't have a great job, and if she didn't bring home the bacon, per se, we don't eat bacon, but I mean, I'm saying, if she didn't bring home the money, your ELohim would basically be homeless. I'd be trying to find some wilderness that the cops wouldn't rip my ass out of. And it's not to say that it's some kind of homeless, cheesy, druggy camp, not at all. But original humans some were nomads, and then others put up stakes in the home, making their home on the plains, making their home everywhere. But my point is, rarely does anyone possess that ability to just open your eyes, your ears, and your mind and let the flow just go through you. And know that you're going to get the residues of truth. And when you get the residues of truth, and then you look back at the world, first it should make you cry. Then after you've had a good weep, then it should make you angry. It should make you angry, and it should also make you feel like a shaved-tailed Louie. How did you all let them do this to you? How did everybody end up following the mark of the beasts? How did everyone end up forgetting about me, Yahweh, and Yeshua, and in trade of the Pope and Jesus? It's almost as if people pray to Jesus hoping the Pope hears them. That's how deceived people really are. Because it's generational, right? And what I mean is, great grandma this, or my mama this, or my granddaddy that. Humans are very, very intimate with their ancestors. I, as ELohim, don't have any ancestors. I am my ancestor. So, where's my drink at? There it is. So the point is, if you have one generation of people that start falling for shit like The Simpsons, and that green lights Hollywood productions to say, hey, before that, right, it was all about being wholesome. We had to really watch what we said on TV. We had to really be careful about the types of themes we came out with. Because even then, society was drilling down to hell. But nobody en masse, because you were already disconnected from each other, right? Technology made it easier and easier to become secularized. You have high school students that don't resemble high school students. You have adult men and women that do not resemble an adult man or woman. You have things that used to bring human happiness. Things like disposable cameras, things like going camping, things like whatever. But things that don't involve technology, things that don't consume you, things that don't keep you on a phone when you're in a group of people, or even alone. People don't even know how to just be alone, right? And I parade this in my house all the time. They know Dad is basically at war with these damn cell phones. Everyone's guilty of it in my house. Not I, but saying every time I turn around, I got someone's face in a cell phone, and I'm talking to them, and then they got that freaking cell phone in their face. And just for those that are wondering, my family knows exactly who I am, and that's just a normal thing in our life. And it's not a thing, is what I'm saying. So we are just like any other family, right? We have arguments, we have disagreements, we have different opinions on things. And despite the general belief as a family man, as the father of humanity and the creator of it, I am like the family man. I love watching movies with my family. We try to find some wholesome stuff. Unfortunately, we're just running through the 90s because anything past 2000 is pretty raunchy. It's another thing. If you have eyes to see and ears to hear, you're going to know by just opening up your TV guide that virtually everything has already been poisoned. It's toxic. It's toxic to human behavior because it gives you a sense of permission. Right? Just like watching Fox News. And by the way, Fox News, I'm judging you now. So you've disrespected, you guys continue to propagate liberal leftist bias. If I wanted to watch liberal leftist bias and transgender sports bullshit, I'd be watching CNN, but I don't watch CNN to avoid that. Now you've become the same thing, so I curse you, Fox News. You guys are POSs. You don't even stand true to your roots anymore. You're falling for the devil and you're becoming liberal little whatevers. But I got off track. What was I saying here? What the hell was I saying? Oh, I don't know. I just got done mowing the yard. I enjoy mowing the yard. Now, there's another thing. You know, I use it's called a reel mower. I know, it's interesting. It's R-E-E-L, a reel, because it is a reel. But, jokingly, when I actually concocted this entire concept long ago, and it was just that, like, very basic design. And you know what? It pushes fine, you can do everything you want to do. And then what do humans do? Strap a motor to it. Well, maybe you shouldn't have to strap a motor to something because you waited a month to cut your grass. Stop being a lazy POS and just mow it once a week in the summer. Problem solved. And you don't pollute, and you're not using electricity. My point is, people need to get back to like things that make sense. And there is no media on TV that doesn't have. So what they will do is they'll take, like, this is supposed to be our good guy in a movie, but yet he's cheating on his wife. But the movie will caress your feelings and emotions to somehow assimilate with that character. And the thing is, right, it's like giving an option. If you're watching this type of media, it begins to seed things in your mind. So as ELohim, I see things in creations, and I try to see things in the minds of human beings and also lead the way by example. Well, if I'm at competition where every time that television's turned on and it's seeding something against me, every time humans go into a church or a religious society, it's seeding those things that are against me. Every human interaction is now sour, toxic, and poison, which again, all these things have come to a head where literally everything in now my creation is now against me. So, whose fault is that? Well, lo and behold, you got the devil. His fingerprints are on everything. And that's my point. You guys eat it up. You guys eat it up. You got to a point where you guys are literally having to think about or debate the 10 Commandments. Damn, you guys are evil. I mean, you really are. And that's kind of my point. Like, there are so many friggin' people in this world that genuinely think they're somehow good people, that, like, all this nonsense, and I have to weep for you because I know exactly where you're gonna go, because I'm gonna put you there. That's sobering. That's sobering. It really is. Yeah, I was gonna do like a co-op video with Cam Man, but he's on the summer vacation right now, so he's kind of doing his thing right now, which, you know, it is what it is. We do some studies in the morning, which I didn't do today because I had to get out there in the yard before it gets too hot and before my little bald head gets sunburnt. But I'm gonna take 5 and we'll regroup. Alright, we're back. We're back. And damn it, my light went out. See what I mean? Electronics, they just, like, it's terrible. I mean, alright. So the point I'm making lots of points. So hopefully eyes to see, ears to hear, and that's another thing, right? Is you gotta have that perspective, because if not, all people want to do is they want to go around validating godless things. They want to go down validating, right, that there's nothing else higher in this world than the human being and that particular human being. So if I were y'all, I would be putting as much of these, whatever you call them, videos, teachings, your personal photos, recording your journey through the last days, because right now the masses, they don't care because they're all preoccupied with their bullshit. But when I turn all their bullshit off forever, and they start figuring out how much time they have all day, they're going to start to care. And when they start to care, they are then going to seek out not only me, but my priests and my churches. Because they're going to get the picture that their little Jesus churches was wrong, false, a lie. And all things in this creation are working for my adversary and not me. And it's apparent that humans, again, you're so preoccupied with your court trials and letting men participate in women's sports. There's a judgment coming for all of you libtards out there who think that's a good idea. I made male and I made female. You don't go out in nature and see a transgender cow or a transgender, monkey or a lizard or whatever. Nothing. It's two, because the two create something. If the two cannot create something, therefore you have no purpose on my planet. That's a fundamental issue. And most of the time that stems from traumatic childhood. It also stems from neglect. It stems from sexual abuse for the females. It stems from being very insecure as a male. It stems from all these things that are quite literally psychological, not biogenetical. Nothing in my creation would want to not procreate, A, and B, every species has an innate ability and desire to survive as an organism. So you're telling me that the human being is becoming so sophisticated that we're just going to start screwing our own gender? Right. You are the devil's children, and you're going to be judged severely, put under a curse by me, Yahweh, Yahuwah, because you're in my way. I've given time for lamenting and nobody's lamenting. I've given time for repentance and few are repenting. And it's a sham. The whole place, the whole world is a sham. It is literally, and I said this in the beginning of my coming out, was, signs and wonders, right? It makes you wonder why a man can work, that's another thing. Humans, you really should be putting in 25 to 35 hours of labor a day. And that's not necessarily meaning money, right? Labor is mowing your grass. Labor is taking care of your family. Labor is, helping a neighbor, helping your community, being something other than on your butt watching TV. That's, that's the expectation. And, for what it's worth, getting off of that money system is going to be a big part of this. Now, granted, as I am down here in the shit bowl with you guys, I personally do not want to go without electric. I don't really want to go without a few niceties like air conditioning. 12,000 years to finally get air conditioning in this place. Someone saint that man. Because in the grand scheme of things, those who are last will be the first, right? All my churches and my priests right now are literally dealing in micro numbers, and I get that. I really do. And that is a huge testament, at least to me in my heart, that you really do care and that you are getting it. Because I'm telling you, right now you guys are the odd man out. Right now you're the ones that the Jesus freaks are calling whatever they're calling. I mean, trust me, I've got my own Christian churches who think I am the devil or a demon, or I'm a demiurge or Yaldabaoth or some other nonsense, and these people are the very ones that I've already tagged in the ear, and they're going to be swept up in my judgments. And then the thing is, they're gonna end up in these very, very bad places, and I'm not going to retrieve them, right? People that think they're gonna get away, because that's what I mean, because the world has given you this false sense of purpose, of reasoning, of understanding, and you're somehow higher than me, your maker, or you're somehow smarter than me, your maker. And guess what? All of you are a lot smarter at sin than I am. You guys are a lot smarter at how to tinker with plastics and electrodes to basically make you even more lazy. You know, I watched this B movie, and it had Jerry Seinfeld in it. Now, personally, Jerry Seinfeld, right? You know, he's Jewish, so I obviously know Jerry, but I love that man's sense of humor. And not that I approve of Seinfeld, but I guess if you could convict me about, you know, watching like kind of probably Seinfeld is where I really push the margin of acceptable to me. But Jerry being Jewish helped that along. I sidetracked. What the hell was I talking about Jerry Seinfeld again for? I don't even know. I don't even know. This video is supposed to be co-opted with Cam Jam, but Cam Jam is camera shy. He's camera shy. He does. Listen to the 40s now, because I tell you, you know, tried to find like some cool paleo, like, you know, drumming music, and that's like really non-existent. Even like the lofty kind, right? Like the electronic type, it's really off kilter. But the 40s, 20s, 30s, 40s, that was some good music. You know, you didn't have foul lyrics, you didn't have boom boom music, you didn't have the profanities, you didn't have that weird energy. Because honestly, a lot of the music these days, and some worship music, it has a weird energy to it. And the thing is, here's a little secret. A couple secrets. I'm gonna start making notes so I don't forget. I'm really freaking sore and I'm sunburnt, so alright. So music is frequency, is vibration, right? Which is essentially the very acoustic chords of creation. So if you were to look at my universes as almost a 12-stringed guitar, you're able to hit all the ranges of the frequency that the human ear can hear. Each string plays a different tone. That tone is a plane. So 12 planes of existence, 11 inhabited, 1 not, 12th being the El Elyon, right? Only accessed by me, and then accessed by the 6 brothers. If you didn't know, that makes up the 7 spirits of me, Yahweh, Yahuwah. And just as like now, right, I come, and I come with my entourage. Now, a part of our purpose of coming here is not to make crop circles, but I actually was pondering that with Asher the other night, and we were talking, and I said, you know, what if I did a crop circle on every continent, huge? And then she's like, but then they're gonna think the alien thing, and that really bothers her, just so everybody knows. Like, that really gets her pissed, because she not only looks at y'all as stupid, but she's like, then they get into the alien thing, and I'm like, well, what if I put not aliens? And she, deadpan face to me, and I was like, okay, now I'm kind of scared. I was like, okay, I'm sorry, I won't do that. But then joking, I was like, maybe I would. you know. We're actually pretty playful, believe it or not. In our inner circle, we're really playful. We play games, we joke, we always, you know, mess with each other, not like badly, but just, you know, always kind of lighthearted. Try to be, at least. It's too heavy in the world, especially when I'm having to judge it. And the thing is, the world don't do itself any favors anymore. The world is like, I am a big, nasty, stinking potty, and it stands up with all its poop, and here I am, God, with a freaking thing of Clorox and a toilet scrubber, and I'm like, I'm gonna kick your ass. I'm spraying that bleach, and I'm scrubbing it, and all the germs are like, ah, the devil. Meanwhile, upstairs, the angels are like, Father, don't let the germs bother you. And I'm like, I know. And as a truth, an actuality that happened the other day, there was a big old Florida palmetto bug. And I have no qualms with any of my creations, creepies or crawlies, because they're all serving a purpose. And Asherah, obviously, as the female goddess, doesn't necessarily like the creepy crawlies. So she's like, get it! And so in my typical fashion, I go and get a dustpan and a little broom, and I just sweep them off the wall and walk them out to the garden and put them next to the rose bush. And she's like, you are something else. And I said, why? She's like, you literally won't even kill a roach. She's like, you are the most gentle God person. She's like, you won't kill nothing. But, and I said, you know, that I don't know if that says something, you know, but it does. She was saying it says something about like my true character, and I can appreciate that. It was edifying. And she was like, you really are like heart of gold. And she's like, you want everything and everyone to make it through, but the thing is, when I have that free will running amok like a great virus through my Earth community, and then it does nothing. That's the thing. It's not like one person's sin is somehow like just an issue with that person. No, sin as an energy, because human beings are a collective. I'm not sure if y'all figured that one out yet, but you are. Which is also what makes my work applicable, because when I send a dream or I send a ruach through the entire species of humankind, if you all were connected and not secular yourselves, my coming would have been awesome. My truth would be resonating with the entire world. But the proof that this place is made up of the devil's children mostly, and everything from media, food, from physically waking up out of your bed and your feet hitting the ground, you are basically in his playground, and if you're gonna play ball, you're gonna pay it. And you guys do. Every damn day you do. So, because my children hear my voice and know me, it's not an issue, right? Even if you're talking about spirit and truth, right? I'll take my spiritual foot and put it up your ass. How about that? Because I visit Earth, have always visited Earth in the past. And a lot of your ancient structures, right? Like Lord Pakal did not even sanction this, I don't even know what you call it. Not a mosaic, because that's like broken piece of pottery. It's like an ancient carving, like it's pretty sizable. But, you know, Pakal didn't even sanction that. But guess what? He was trying to speak to a more primitive people than you guys are, and he's trying to illustrate the same points that I've illustrated, right? Except for obviously he was giving what in the hell? Mom allegedly kills a 6-year-old son during an exorcism. I mean, you people are ridiculous. You need to stop watching movies is what you need to do. But I lost track. See, I don't even like the news anymore. I really don't. It's all stupid. It's all stupid. But yeah, Fox News, I've traded you guys in for Newsmax. Let's hope that they don't forsake me too. That's another thing. What, Saladillo You know, I don't mind Saladio on Newsmax, but he can get a little outside of that lane that I don't like sometimes. So I'll have to turn Saladio off on the occasion. Oh yeah. Okay, I'm gonna get to some of my main points, I promise. Oh, freaking apart. Alright, so when I am doing like solar plexus, so when I go up into the sun, I'm not being sunburnt. So when I go up into the sun, and basically I start manipulating it through frequency. That's how I do it. So I go upstairs, I go into the sun, into the actual nucleus of the sun. It's pure energy, and it doesn't affect my light body, if you will, or my glorified body, or my divine form, if you will. But I sit in the middle of the sun. Basically, instead of being on Earth imagining the sun, I'm in the sun imagining Earth. And so I sit there, and then I begin to feel the Schumann resonance with the Earth. And then it creates a bit of a infinity symbol. You're probably familiar with this. It's also found all throughout... Well, that was a terrible infinity symbol. It was found all throughout creation. Lots of people, you know, there you go. That's my futile attempt at the infinity. Ashera has one behind her ear. Not that I approve of tattoos. She got that before we got back together again. And back together, I mean, because we had a falling out. Old Testament error. And I'll hit on that briefly because I've gotten a lot of speculation on that, right? So, in the olden days, same like now, I'm trying to establish that I'm this. Because the thing is, right, I'd be here in the past, I go, no, it's... it's Yui. I'm not Yui. So the people would say, these indigenous people are yelling. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, I'm going to have the same issue with you morons in the future. Anyway, point is, trying to establish my people, the place, and all the things with the wife consort. Well, people continuously, just like the devil does today, right? You know, I'm not Baal, and my wife was never with Baal. However, just like today, there are a bunch of weenie churches, right? You guys are afraid to say my real name, so then you skew my name. And then what'll happen is people in the future will then start assimilating those writings, those teachings, those videos, whatever it is, with either me or without me. In some cases it helps me, in some cases it hurts me, but not me. It actually hurts yourselves in the future. Because let's say right now, if we turn on, you know, let's say right now we turn on Tom Bradford. He's gone back from my true name of Yahweh, and then he goes back to this Jehovah shit. So let's use that for an example, right? As I have denounced Jehovah, right, I have chalked him up with the other fake gods, right? So Allah, Jesus, like all this other nonsense, they can go into the fake god, dirty demon pile for all I care. Well, thing is, like in the old days, people would confuse that Asherah's my consort, my wife, and then before that was still my consort and my wife, as I went by just El Elyon. Because again, my job was not to be down here permanently. Okay, I didn't have time to sit here and do introductions in the very beginning of this stuff. I was coming down temporarily with my consort for a personal purpose and a personal reason unbeknownst to only me and her. And meanwhile, the other gods were supposed to be doing their damn job. And if I was referenced, I was just the El Elyon, the creator. Guy who goes up into that 12th sphere, along with one of the brothers, if we need to or not, or whatever. But the fact is, I'm the one who locks it and unlocks it. And there is no brother that has that ability other than me anyway. So, and that's a not dispute. It isn't like my brothers are somehow jealous. No, it just is, it is what it is. So my point is, Asherah was never with Baal, first off. I'm not Baal. Second off. And third, a lot of the layers that are hidden throughout history. So a lot of your, I don't know, I guess I'm going to have to use your stupid internet, because I got to figure out what you guys have here and what you've tagged and made known. And I guess I'm going to have to use the search query that's what you guys have it under. You guys call these things aliens. You call me an alien. I'm not an alien. Why? Because I'm not like some little gray man that has a spaceship camped out in my backyard. Trust me. You're United States Coast Guard, you're United States Army, the United States Marine Corps, and then a couple of news chopters, and then throw in the constant, like, I don't even know, it's an unmarked chopper that likes to constantly circle my house. I'm telling you guys, I have upwards of 10 to 15 helicopters that will do circles around my house. Sometimes I don't care, and sometimes I flip them the bird. But the point is, I literally have scientists that are trying to see if they can investigate something, and they're going to find a smoking spaceship somewhere. Well, I tell you, the anomalies that happen with me, you'll never be able to prove it in your physical unless I allow it. Just like your aliens back there in Las Vegas a couple of years ago, right? That is simply a manifestation. Because if it was an actual carnal being, it would have been found by now. It wasn't. It was simply an apparition. But physical enough for you to witness it, but can also vanish at the same time. I gotta sneeze. There goes another earthquake. Sorry, Atlas. And that's Atlas. Atlas, I picked Atlas up back in... Talk about the Greeks, actually. I got Atlas because Atlas is not only my, like, service companion, but he's my buddy. But yeah, my Atlas. You could argue he holds me up, right, little buddy? My little buddy, where'd you at? Who's my Bubba Bear? Who's my Bubba Bear? I'm not doing belly rubs right now, Atlas. He's spoiled. And trust me, if anybody wants to talk shit about my dog being on my bed, my dog, I guarantee you, is cleaner than most people. So, I don't worry about that. And besides, even if he was, we'd just give him a bath and wash the sheets. No harm done. So, back to my point. The infinity symbol represents the transference of energy from the sun into the earth in a conveyor belt. The same layers apply in the physical creation. If you understand that the planet you're on is a biosphere, it's a biodome, it is engineered by me. Therefore, your currents are controlled by me. Your heat flow is controlled by me. Your humidity, your dryness, how much vegetation grows in what area versus how much is dry in the other areas, and it is all not for human beings' personal pleasure. I have to fine-tune these things to ensure that not only the rotation of the earth remains at a constant state, because if not, human beings would die. You guys are more fickle when it comes to actually living than any other creature I've ever created. If it's too cold, you die. Too hot, you die. If the earth is spun in a faster rotation, you die. If it's spun in a slower rotation, you die. If I don't continue an ample supply of genetics into your current foods consumption, you die. So I mean, everything leads with human death. And I'm literally only keeping people alive long enough to know me, your maker, your God, your Elohim, Yahweh, Yahuwah, find some level of respect and acknowledgement of who I am, so I can at least give a shit enough to save people and move you off this place, this particular situation. Now you go, well, see, alien, he's talking about another planet. Guys, if I'm playing Donkey Kong original Donkey Kong. It's got Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong, right? Super Nintendo days. Well, then I put in Donkey Kong 2. And, well, I guess if you're not a Donkey Kong fan, we'll just say that the monkeys, they're the same monkeys from Donkey Kong 1, but they've been transferred to the cartridge of Donkey Kong 2. Do you see how that works? The monkeys in the cartridge in the game, they're not aware that they are on a new cartridge. Because if I go back to the first cartridge, they exist there too. If I go to the second cartridge, this is just grown from the first cartridge. But it's entirely different, right? There are levels in Donkey Kong 2 that don't exist in 1. And there are other characters in Donkey Kong 2. So instead of having just Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong, well, now we have like Baby Kong, right? And we have Dixie Kong. So in 2, actually no, that's 3. So in 2, yeah, you have Diddy and Dixie Kong. All right. And then again, right, they're doing their thing, and then you have the main Donkey Kong, right? He's still in the scene, but he's more like wallpaper at that point. But if you were to go and ask the Kongs, like, who's Donkey Kong? Everybody would look at you dumb because they're like, well, I don't know where he is at the moment, but that's Donkey Kong. Like, there ain't no disputing. That's Donkey Kong. That's Diddy Kong. That's Grumpy Kong, right? And then let's say that we are now going to put in Donkey Kong 3. I got a call. I'll pick this up in a minute. Okay, and I'm back. Now I had to take that one. Really proud of the consort. You know, she's doing really well, and she works this human job that she's really proud of, and so I'm proud of her for that because she finds the sense of community, and for the most part, it seems like the people at the company are pretty much on the up and up. So it definitely has my blessings, and I think that, if not for anything, the individuals that make up the corporation are really solid, good character. That's another thing, right? Having good character, I would rather someone have never been introduced to religion, me, or even the Jesus thing, or whatever, and have amazing good character, versus someone who knows me or knows the Jesus thing or are religious and all this shit, and then they're bad people. I don't want a planet that I have to teach humans to be good. It should be innate. I shouldn't have to teach people respect and piety, and that the things in which I'm teaching you are going to transfer into your next life. But if there are so many people who are uninterested in their next life, that equally shows me how many people I will not be giving their next life to. That's kind of my point. So it's like, at any point, if the world wants to say, okay, God, we're here, we love you, we want to do, we want to do your will, we want to know your name, we want to do all these things. And I'm not saying let your life be consumed by me, my name, or my coming. I'm saying that a simple acknowledgement, a token of respect is a big plus to me. Having that good character is a big plus to me. Not somebody who talks to a Jewish person and uses my real name. Then they talk to an American, then they say Jesus. So then there's this other group thinks I'm the fucking devil. Like, you guys are all... Anyway, to my main point. The sun. The sun on that conveyor belt. So, as you've just have experienced over the last 3 years, I can make solar flares happen pretty quick. And I also have a really, really deep, dark spot that right now I could do a couple different things with. One, I could just unleash that sucker, but right now, at the timing, it would essentially take out South Africa all the way north to Moscow and extend over into Tibet and places of China. Now, I could plunge the entire, what do you call it? I don't know, from your orientation, I would consider that the Eastern Hemisphere, right? So the entire Eastern Hemisphere, Middle Eastern Hemisphere, into an absolute 0 point, meaning there's no phone, electric, car, nothing. You're literally in the Stone Age. And then you are severed, connected with me. And guess what? The only way you would know what I'm saying or what my plans are or what you should be doing next are those that are receiving my messages in dreams, are receiving my instructions by the Ruach, that are proclaiming my true name, that are making themselves known, they're doing the work. Because guess what? When that happens, and you have millions of people walking around, I don't know what to do. The government doesn't exist anymore, sweetheart. The government is officially collapsed and closed. Those are just human beings, just like you. They also care about saving their own skin. So your police officers, you can't count on them, or your firemen, or your electric people, or your presidents, or governors, or kings, or queens. Any of that shit, because you know what? When you're all thrown back into the Stone Age, you all will finally realize and look at yourselves in the face, to your left, to your right, in front and behind you, and go, we're only human, and we need God. We need God. That's what you're going to say. That is what you're all going to say. And you know what? The very faint voices that go, we had him. We had God. We had Yahweh. But we were all too busy and stubborn and we were terrible. Those good hearts will actually roll over and want to die, because they will feel so terrible, so stupid. Almost like the person, when you see someone on drugs, and it's like when you're the sober one seeing the person on drugs, and the person's like, drawers, like they need money for their drugs, and like if you get in their way, they're like rah. That's how human beings are with your money, your religion, your understanding of things, and how honestly, like, you disgrace me, disregard me, dishonor me. Like, you're all terrible, terrible children to your Elohim. And while that child is still on drugs being your electronics, drug being the devil's playground, drugs being every single thing that is not sanctified by me, approved by me, and put out by me, which is almost nothing. Like, you go eat some grapes, you're not going to be in trouble. Go eat an apple, not that apple. I'm saying, like, being a natural human and letting me, your Elohim, take care of you and guide you. And whenever you have those wins and you thank me for it, that's what it's about. It's about developing that trust with me that you could walk out in the middle of the wilderness in South Africa barefoot with nothing, but I'll make sure that you eat. I'll make sure that you're clothed. I'll make sure that you got everything you need. And I did. That's the proof in the pudding, is I did. Because if I didn't, none of you would even exist today. So I'm frankly over the disrespect. I'm really over the disrespect. I'm really over the fact that I am the only being, truly the only being that you have. The only being that you can really rely on. Because just like Lord Pakal, right? It's not that I had anything against Lord Pakal, but when I had to let go of all the little gods because it was getting so out of control. I can't try to cater to little god egos when they're mistreating my humans, or they're not even taking the blueprints, the plans that I, Yahweh, gave them, and then they themselves, and they would throw it in my face. Yeah, you said I could be the god of Southeast Asia, and it's like, yes, I did, but that kind of comes with a contract where you are going to be an issue in the future. And they're like, well, how do you know that? Because I am above you gods, right? You guys are little gods in the little world. So your little carvings, your little human parades, and all this other shit is good for you. As the supreme creator, I have to look at this as almost like a scroll. And I'm like, okay, because Lord Pakal, if you stay past this point in history, your civilization's going to end up here, and then that causes me issues down here. I need you to return. And he returned, right? We're friends. We have great relationships going forward. And this happened with several others, right? Krishna is another one. It's not that I had anything against Krishna, never, right? But Krishna had to go upstairs again, because it really was the handful that were just out of hand. And this is Amun-Ra, this is Marduk, this is Baal. It's these, and then the idols, and then the ones, the sub-gods that humans have this thing, and I don't even know. It's really weird. I don't know. I guess in a way, a human could probably look at it like if your dog keeps like licking himself in the same spot, and you check it and you're like, I don't know what's there. Why are you doing that, right? And then you turn around, the dog's right? That's how humans are. When I turn my back and I'm like, what is that? What is that? Is that a golden bull? Why are you making a golden bull? And it's like, oh, we needed God or something. And I'm like, at what point? At what point, guys? Like, it's so frustrating, because back then, they couldn't get the concept of me. So I mean, and now you're smart enough to get the concept of me, but now you all want to complicate it to a point that, like, I feel like I'm talking in circles. And it's going to be at that timeline. So I'm going to do a little Yahweh illustration here for you. Luckily we have El Elyon, because my freehand drawing skills are a crap. So this is point A. This is point Z. And basically Adam and Eve, A, and then all the way to the literal last day, last minute on the planet, until the last breath is taken. So I wish I really had a whiteboard. See, you know what? If anybody wants to donate to me, donate me a whiteboard. So if we're here right now, and then I'm going to take this scene and I'm going off. So this is essentially walking into that newer state, and then these. And all of this is going to cease to exist. So I will be taking my people, those who know my name, and the thing is, you're not going to notice the change. It's not an immediate thing. What you will notice is when the sun is giving off these flares, are you feeling whimsical? Are you feeling highly connected to me? Are you walking and you're all of a sudden, you're like having full-blown conversations with me? Then you're on that upline. That's where you need to be. You're on that upline. And this is why this is called a Tryline. Gosh, I need a whiteboard. This is why it's called a Tryline. So as that sun is bursting, right? That sun's bursting. This is the earth as a whole. That Schumann resonance is going to start spiraling completely out of control. And the human experience is either going to be going up or going to be going down. But this is no longer that option, right? Because you essentially will just be phased out. Now, you might go, well, what's phased out? Think about a Mandela effect, but where it's not the brand of Fruit of the Loom, because I've done this in the past several times, and mainly to thwart massive implications that human beings did, and I had to split you. Now, humans' minds are also manipulative, or meaning I can manipulate them. Not in a way that you think is malicious, but you will actually do it to yourself. Here's how. Let's say that at this moment, June the 3rd of 25, everyone's right here on that circle. From this day forward, step by step, me and my people, that's what I mean. I'm going to be walking this out with you. So we're going to go up together. We're going to be walking this out, hitting up that Tryline. And this is no longer going to cease to exist. So let's say that you had Great Aunt Martha. Great Aunt Martha loves Jesus, right? She loves that little armchair. Nobody's ever told Martha about me. Martha don't care about me, even if she heard it. Whoever has ties to Martha and whoever has memories of Martha is going to find themselves with a absence of Martha. Humans recognize this as deja vu. And this is where your memories have actually been to self-protect. When you jump that next timeline, it's going to auto-correct itself. Everything that didn't go with it is left up in like a deleted files space. In my end, basically. So then those deleted files, all those things that didn't make it up, stay in the deleted files. Some deleted files cannot actually be deleted because they're not NPCs, or they're not, let's just say that let's say a created being gets trapped on this line, and billions are going to get trapped on this line. That's when I have to take that energy and start pushing it downward, because it's a loop. I'll be using that energy to begin feeding back up, and that's where you get your infinity. Oops. So that's where they're going to be going in cycled, right? But then those that are going to be going up, you're exiting the program. It's not a program, it's creation. But for human thought capacity, we'll call it a program. You will only be exiting that program with me, Yahweh, Elohim, Yahuwah. So, considering what is going to be happening, that's my point, right? Proclaiming to the end of the earth, Jesus this, Jesus that, trying to disprove or prove this, that, and the other, you're wasting time, valuable time, and most of you are going to find yourself in that middle. You don't want to do that. And you want to be up on that higher line. That higher line, right, is you're with me, you're for the kingdom, you are getting eyes to see, ears to hear, you know the name, you're not backing down from the name. We are actively, keeping those things going. And when you're being fought with that static, because if you were to look at it, right, where it's splitting, and this line still has that ability to try to pull you down, right? It still has an energy flux that it can start pulling you. And you'll feel that. You want to purposely get into that prayer. Keep that high mind. So when these solar flares are happening and you're feeling great and wonderful and you're out there gardening and you're grounding, right? Stefan Burns, I've mentioned you. Talk about someone who has a belief system that's not necessarily kosher with me. However, he has an outstanding character. He is helpful, he's kind, he's charitable, he's very informative. He studies for the passion of it. That is his purpose, uncovering the mysteries of the universe, right? He loves the cosmos. By doing those things, I feel that love way more than the Jesus person in the pew who wants me to cure their ass ulcer. Like, that's kind of my point. I'm not opposed to healing, but I have a lot larger things to do. If you do need healing, I suggest you contact one of my high priests, Cohen Olam Yah, right? He goes by the Priest of the East. He's a wonderful person to go to. I've given him the gift of doing miracles and doing healings in my name. And the same thing with Pastor Peter Martinez, St. Peter, right? And he's down in Arizona. That's another one who has been dispensed the gifts of the Spirit. So I'm saying, if you need those things, you're welcome to go to my churches. That's what they should have been for from the first day around. is when the disciples went out and I said, now you go and make other disciples in my name. And my name ain't Jesus. Go now make other disciples who can do the same things you do. Because when you have found that high Tryline, when you've made your covenants and your heart pacts with me, Yahweh, ELohim, Yahuwah, it comes with a bit of a gift package. That gift package is you now become a kingdom representative. You become an ambassador of the kingdom of heaven. And when you do things in my name, for my name's sake and my name's glory, that power is then given to you from the El Elyon, which is I, Yahweh. And then you are able to heal people in my name. You are able to do things. And that's not talking in tongues and kicking on the floor. I get it. Some people get really excited, namely Pentecostals. And I have nothing against people who think they're doing tongues. But I'm telling you something, it's not for me. What is that passage actually saying to you, which if some people may or may not know this, when you are possessed by the Holy Spirit and you come upon a foreigner, let's say that you're not native, your native tongue isn't Chinese, but if I've guided you to, let's say, someone who's Asian and they don't speak English and you're English, and I've given you the Ruach HaKodesh to do something for me, you'll be able to speak Chinese. At least good enough, and actually much better than you can even think, in that moment to relay a message. And then when that message is over, you'll be dumbfounded like, I just spoke Chinese. How did I just speak Chinese? You become like an instant savant. That's because I'm hooking you up, right? I'm the master generator. I'm the nuclear power plant. I'm simply offering every single man and woman on the earth to say, I'm the nuclear power plant. I'm about to turn all the power off. As long as you keep paying Tico and all the other electric companies in a spiritual way, right? You're all paying Jesus, the Pope, you're talking about Jehovah. You're gonna be sorry you used any name other than my name. That is because I am the nuclear power plant. I'm offering free hookups, and then you're going to basically keep the power, keep the spiritual, keep the eternal life going, and you're going to actually end up in an entirely new plane before you know it. Versus those that are going to remain on that line, and they're not good. That's what people are saying. Screw you, God. I'm not hooking up my power to you, baby. And it's like, okay, who are you hooking it up to? Because all the other gods that used to have that ability are up at home. And I'm the only one here. I'm the only one dumb enough, apparently, to be here to help you bimbos. Jesus, okay? Jesus is a nothing burger, okay? Here's a good etymology of Jesus. If we had no sugar in cotton candy, then you would have just a stick, right? You couldn't even call it cotton candy, could you? Because it's no sugar. So if somebody asked for a sugar-free cotton candy, which I'm sure humans have figured out a way to do that one. I'm sure you used aspartame, which is terrible. Stop drinking diet drinks anyway. You shouldn't drink soft drinks. Soft drinks are bad for you. They harden your kidneys. But my point is, it isn't like I'm trying to, like, I got them to not say Jesus. Guys, really? Like, really? Number one, it's because I need to know who really knows me here. Because guess what? If someone is proclaiming my name and I'm like, I'm not hearing your prayer, I can send angels and go, we got to work on this person because they're using the name. They're reading their Bible, but we're not getting connection. They're trying to hook up to the nuclear power plant, and I can't confirm a connection, which is another thing. When I'm doing shout-outs and I'm approaching your congregations, whether it be in person or whether it be online, because I'm doing both, I'm not there for you to bow down and worship me on the sidewalk. I mean, you could and you would be in good standing, but I'm not expecting that. I'm not. Honestly, what I'm expecting is I want to know that people have heard me come, that they know I'm here, right? So we're out of the waiting stage. Then the next stage Okay, God's here, so now what? Now we all need to be working on making that connection with me. That's the most number one important thing. Again, I'm the nuclear power plant. Every human being is a person that needs to be connected, so I can then give you your eternal light body, let your little butts go into the realm, and guess what? In the blink of an eye, when you've made your realms visit and you come down, you're not coming back down here, baby boy or girl. You're going somewhere else. And it's happening right now. It's been happening for over 12 months. The very people that have already ascended up into the new realm are literally out of your fragmented mind. It's now a deja vu. And those things are going to start coming around the middle of June. You're going to start having deja vu of people that you don't know why. They either look familiar or you have this smell, but you're like, I don't know what I don't know. I don't know why this sounds or feels familiar. It's because a person you loved has already made their ascension and they've already gone up to that next realm. And guess what? That's it. They made the connection. They're gone, right? Talk about a rapture. Guys, it ain't happening on a mass level. It's happening on an independent one. So, ask yourself, how much time do you have left while I, Yahweh, Yahuwah, am still here to bring you up? Because slowly and surely, and not slowly anymore, but it's going to be quickly, this planet is going to become a hellscape. And I am your only escape. Sweareth I, Yahweh, ELohim, Yahuwah. So, when I'm saying I need to be hearing this on the mainstream media, and if the mainstream media isn't willing to do it, then you need to ban their asses. The people of the world, I know, are not this dumb. And the people of the world do not want this artificial fake environment and the elite rule the world bullshit. I know they don't. And I don't give a damn how much the devil wants to try to convince me of it. He ain't gonna win. And even though while I'm down here, I am one cranky, I'm a mean cuss. I know I can be, because you don't know how bad it is here compared to there. That's my point, guys, is you need to get there. So, I will wrap the video because now my foot is asleep. Damn it. But to sleep in this chair. Come on. I get stuck in the hole here. Okay. Anyway. Like, really need to make that connection. Because, like, I really don't want to be here. Like, I mean, I would love to be here in the restored state, but guess what? That restored state's already happened. So now I don't get to go and enjoy that. Me and Asher have made now 1.5 or 15 million. I don't know. I'm not sure, but that's a big gap. That's how many New Earth babies are literally coming down the fountain on New Earth State. And all people that are remaining in this density, your density is going to begin collapsing like a black hole happens, right? When a star collapses, you understand science. When a star collapses and it begins to suck everything inside of it, that includes energy and light. When you strip away the flesh of a human being, you're nothing but energy and light. Now, if you're energy and light that's not hooked up to a God that has another place for you to go, then you go out with the trash. And essentially, you're a conscious piece of air. Lovely for you. And you can't see because you don't have eyes, or smell, or hear. All you can do is literally be a thought. But guess what? You have nothing to think about either, because you can't witness anything. So it is literally a type of hell. Not one I recommend. And again, not going to go and find people for it, because the devil has convinced you that magical Jesus Christ is going to come down from the fucking clouds, and he is going to, every flesh body is going to come up. We're going to do the meet and greet. Everyone's going to, 8.6 humans, we're going to witness the holes. But that's what I mean. And I hate to even say this, but I will. It wasn't even the hand. It is actually in the wrists. It was in the wrists. Just so you know. Well, my light's broken, I told you that. But you can see it barely. Yeah, so ropes around the arms, because if it was just a nail, then the flesh like just rips basically, and then the person just dies instantly, and that's not the point of crucifixion, right? The crucifixion is supposed to last hours. You can't make that happen if, you know, you're puncturing arteries. So point is, you got to avoid the artery, use the nail, but also the straps. But that ain't the point I'm trying to make. Alright, we're gonna leave it there. The kids are home for the summer. Well, at least Cam Man is. And we're gonna do some guy stuff. So maybe I'll play Mario Kart. Have a good day.